When you come home, everything is in its place. The dog is on the couch, the cushions are intact, nothing is out of order. You think they had a good time, but when scientists set up cameras in the same rooms, what they saw was something else entirely. Silence didn't mean peace. Before we get into the video, if you want to watch scientific and honest content about dog psychology and behavior, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We publish a new video every week. Now, let's take a closer look together at what your dog is really going through during those hours. In 2010, researchers from the University of Milan placed cameras in the homes of 23 dogs and walked out the door. On average, just 3 minutes and 15 seconds after the door closed, the sounds began: barking, whining, howling. Within 7 minutes, destructive behavior had already started. Think about that for a moment. You haven't even turned the corner of your street yet. But the most surprising part wasn't this. After a while, the sounds began to fade, and anyone watching from the outside would say, "Okay, they've calmed down." The cameras told a different story. The heart rate was still elevated, panting had increased, and the dog had quietly moved from one form of distress into another. The noise had stopped, but the storm inside the body hadn't, and the pattern never really settled. It followed a cyclical rhythm: relative quiet, followed by a new wave, then quiet again, then another surge. It never truly resolved. When you compare this to dogs without separation issues, the contrast becomes striking. Dogs that don't carry separation anxiety spend the vast majority of their owner's absence being passive. They lie down, rest, occasionally check their water bowl. No panic, no constant running to the door. They're simply waiting. The difference between these two groups has almost nothing to do with breed, age, or genetics. Researchers point to a single variable above almost everything else: what the dog has been taught to expect. So, how exactly does this learning work? And more importantly, when does it start? The answer surprises most people because this process begins before you've even left the house. In 1982, veterinary behaviorists Borchelt and Voith documented something that has since been confirmed repeatedly. Dogs with separation anxiety begin showing measurable stress responses long before the door closes while you're still picking up your bag. The mechanism behind this is simple but powerful. You look at your phone, you put on your shoes, you grab your keys. Each of these movements, repeated across hundreds of mornings, starts to carry a single meaning for your dog. I'm about to be left alone. So by the time you reach the door, some dogs are already breathing fast. Some pace back and forth. Some follow you quietly from room to room, as if hoping that this time might be different. The problem was never the keys. The problem is the deep uncertainty about what happens after you leave. Your dog isn't afraid of your shoes. They're afraid you won't come back. This is exactly why the classic advice for years was: desensitize your dog to departure cues. Pick up your keys randomly during the day, put your shoes on, and sit back down until these signals lose their meaning. It sounds logical, but research shows this approach produces far more complicated results than expected. Making departures unpredictable doesn't reduce anxiety for some dogs, it actually increases it. Because the problem was never the cues themselves. The problem was that the dog could never get a clear answer to the question of when you're leaving, how long you'll be gone, and whether you'll come back at all. Increasing unpredictability only leaves those questions more unanswered. And now we come to something you've probably never heard, but once you do, it'll make you rethink everything. For years, dog owners were told, don't make emotional scenes at the door, don't linger with long hugs, don't make a big production of your goodbye, because it fueled separation anxiety. But the Generation Pup Study, a long-running project from the Royal Veterinary College that followed 145 dogs through their first 6 months, tested this directly, and the results took researchers somewhere they didn't expect. Goodbyes barely mattered. What was actually decisive was the return. Owners who came home, found damage, and visibly showed it, raising their voice, giving a prolonged reaction, had dogs that were significantly more likely to develop separation-related problems. The dog doesn't connect the chewed chair from 4 hours ago to your frustration. The connection being made in the dog's mind is much simpler. You arrive and something happens. Gradually, your homecoming itself becomes a source of tension. They panic when you leave. They panic again for a different reason when you return, and the whole day becomes a cycle of anticipatory stress. Then there's the other popular solution that almost everyone considers at some point. Get a second dog so they keep each other company. But the research doesn't support this idea. Separation anxiety isn't about general loneliness. It's about the absence of a specific person, you. A second dog doesn't fill that space. In some cases, putting a second dog next to one that's already anxious just results in two dogs experiencing their own separate forms of stress. So what about the days when everything seems fine? You come home, the dog is calm, nothing is out of place, everything looks normal. This is where the science becomes genuinely unsettling. In dogs that have been under prolonged stress, stress hormone levels eventually begin to deplete. The body can no longer sustain that high level of alarm, and the dog starts to appear calm from the outside. But this isn't recovery, it's exhaustion. The dog that goes quiet, seems settled, acts as though nothing happened, may actually be the one that needs the most attention. The absence of visible damage doesn't mean everything is fine, and that's exactly what makes it so easy to miss. Add to this what researchers at Linköping University found in 2019, and the picture becomes even more significant. They measured long-term stress hormone accumulation in 58 dog and owner pairs, not an instant reading, but a months-long picture captured through hair samples. The result was clear. Stressed owners had stressed dogs, calm owners had calm dogs. When researchers examined which direction this relationship ran, the answer was unambiguous. The owner's stress levels predicted the dog's, not the other way around. Your dog isn't passively reflecting your mood. They are fully calibrated to it. Those tense mornings before you leave, the rushed preparations, the weight you're carrying at the start of the day, all of it directly shapes how your dog experiences their hours alone. The separation never begins from a neutral point. It layers on top of whatever has already accumulated. So what does it actually take to break this cycle? Pheromone diffusers, anxiety wraps, leaving the television on, white noise machines. Most dog owners have tried at least one of these. But rigorous scientific studies show that the vast majority of these products produce no meaningful difference in stress indicators. Puzzle toys provide a few minutes of engagement, but the moment the food runs out, the real response begins. Almost all of these products are trying to treat the 8 hours your dog spends alone. The actual point of intervention is in the other 16. The approach that carries consistent evidence is slower and requires more patience than most people expect. Not leaving for 5 minutes and hoping for the best, but starting with seconds, walking to the door and coming back in, touching the door handle and returning, giving the dog enough repetitions of "this door opens again" that their nervous system doesn't have a chance to spike. When you're standing outside your own front door for 30 seconds, it doesn't feel like training. It barely feels like anything. But what you're actually doing is rewriting your dog's prediction system. Owners who stick with this approach consistently report the same turning point. Once a dog can tolerate roughly 40 minutes of absence without distress, progress toward 4 or 8 hours tends to happen faster than expected. 40 minutes isn't a magic number. It's simply the point at which the dog has accumulated enough evidence to start trusting that you'll come back. What cameras have been showing us for decades is this. Some dogs are genuinely waiting, some are cycling through waves of stress all day long, and some look fine but have gone quiet from exhaustion. What your dog is responding to isn't a toy or a television left on. It's your presence, your calm, and the expectation you've built into them. None of this changes overnight. But it does change. If this video shifted the way you see your dog, please hit the like button. That small action helps the content reach more people. Let me know in the comments. Does your dog show signs before you even leave the house? See you in the next video.